Hey again everyone, and welcome back to the channel for another new figure showcase episode. And for today's installment, we'll be looking at the newest villain I'm adding to my collection, and it's none other than Electro, based on his appearance in Marvel's Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, I should actually have Green Goblin in shortly, the deluxe version, and hopefully Doc Ock ships in the next week or so. I did order from Sideshow, so it seems like they've been delayed a little bit, but that essentially just leaves us with the final version Green Goblin to close out the villains from that No Way Home line. So this was not the first Electro Hot Toys gave us, since they actually also did the version from the Amazing Spider-Man 2 with the bluish purple translucent skin. So interestingly enough, Marvel kept the Goblin design for the most part, updating it for that final battle. Doc Ock remained pretty similar, as did Sandman and the Lizard, but Electro they totally revamped as far as the character's appearance. And for me, this was a redesign that totally worked, and just looks way better than that original version ever did. And even the decision to switch his lightning effect from blue to yellow was much more in line with the traditional effects we associate with Electro. And there is a nice nod to the classic comic look, although without a doubt you can see that the figure is a very different take on the character. Now, as far as Spider-Man No Way Home, I've said it before, on first viewing I wasn't a fan, but I think that was just me being exhausted when I watched. Because when I watched it again, it definitely made a bigger impact, and I loved Electro's portrayal in the movie. And again, it was a conversion and a modification that worked well, even down to Jamie Foxx's portrayal. Everything was updated nicely. And as far as Hot Toys was concerned, I definitely expected to get a Green Goblin and a Doc Ock. I thought those were given, but I was extremely happy and pleasantly surprised that Hot Toys decided to go super deep in the line and that they gave us Electro as well. Now, looking at the overall package that we're getting, the first thing you'll notice is this is a fairly bare bones release. Doesn't mean the figure is simple by any means, but just from an accessory point of view, he doesn't come with much. You basically get some effect pieces, a few alternate hands, and the display stand with a flexible flight pole. And the nice yellow top of the display kind of showing the Electro name. So definitely one of the simpler Hot Toys releases we've gotten in some time, but I think the figure itself more than makes up for that. So let's take a quick look at the accessories, and we'll start with the hands. And you basically just get 4 additionals, all showing his hands splayed out for posing and gesturing purposes. And look, it goes without saying that these are really great. Hands are sculpted with fingerless gloves. Exposed digits all look good too, with some nice detail work on the joints showing some skin folds. It's all subtle, but stands out. The glove itself has some nice elements on the knuckles as well, showcasing what I have to imagine are sort of armored elements. And then you do have the silver plate right at the lower portion of the hand that's meant to blend into the gauntlets. So nicely done. Next piece is actually, we're going to call it the mask, but it's actually meant to be the energy electrical effect that emanates from his face. But the nice touch on this, and it's a credit to the Marvel designers, that they managed to find a way to give us fans an opportunity to see the comic design of Electro's mask, which in live action could potentially look cheesy, but with this kind of energy effect, they really managed to make it seem real and work. Now, Hot Toys recreated that well here, and they actually have it sort of set up like sunglasses, where the mask actually slides onto the face and sits on his ears. Not gonna lie, by itself it does feel a little cheap, but it was a good way of creating this piece, and it does have some nice variation in colors, including some highlight yellow effects that really add and pop. And the next and last set of accessories are 3 different yellow energy effects. Nice part of this is that each one is unique, with 2 being meant to slide onto the figure's arms, and the third piece being something that drapes nicely around his shoulders. Now, I have seen a lot of effect pieces with figures like Thor, and at least by comparison, these are really different. Bolts of lightning are a little thicker, and there is a nice yellow plastic here, and some of the bolts actually have an almost gold-like paint act to them, so really nice pieces. So now, let's jump into the figure, and we'll start with the sculpt. And look, Hot Toys has been killing it with these sculpts lately, and this is one of the best sculpts I've seen from them. And before you call me a fanboy, which I am, I mean, just how can you not see the great work here? Straight out of the box, you can't help but be impressed. Detail on the eyes is super real. It's amazing. And then the paint and detail work on his face, from the wrinkles, the furrowed brow, the nice tight haircut they gave him, and the facial hair, it's just an impressive sculpt that looks like Jamie Foxx. And again, going back to the paintwork, not sure if it's coming across in the video, but he even has some freckling on his cheeks that's just amazing to see in person. And I like that there is some emotion on display. It's subtle again, but just great, including that slightly open mouth that showcases the teeth, which are painted and sculpted exceptionally well. It's just insane how much detail Hot Toys put into this. Now the rest of the figure, as far as I'm concerned, is a masterpiece. I've had a bunch of figures in hand, and this one really impresses, and it almost makes up for the figure not having much in the sense of accessories. First of all, the rig he's wearing with the yellow cables that connect to the different panels on his shoulders, arms, and legs, the yellow there just pops and looks great, and then the metallic panels too. There's a lot of great detail work with the perforations, the bolting, even the belt shows some nice copper-like coils along the top and the bottom. Just really awesome. And of course the detail work on the arc reactor is stunning, showcasing that interior reactor core and the nice coils along the exterior. Now, as far as the clothing, also great with the nice black and tan shirt and the nice cargo pants. Just a really sleek looking setup, and I do like that the straps holding the pieces to the figure are all molded rubber and plastic, because I don't have to worry about deterioration over the long run. And just to show you the really amazing detail, his work boots. So first of all, they're all scuffed up, so the weathering is phenomenal. But if you hike up the pant legs, you can see the nicely sculpted yellow shoelaces, almost looking super real, as well as the metallic looking brass eyelets for the shoelaces, all the way up to the leather collars around the ankles. Really amazing. And honestly, the only thing missing here is the Timberland logo on the side. And obviously Hot Toys wasn't going to pay for that licensing fee, but it's just an amazing replica. Now let's talk about the arc reactor, because it does light up, which is a nice feature. And what's even better, this is a USB powered element. So the way it works is there's a panel that's connected via magnets that you lift out of the way, and then you also lift a piece of the shirt to reveal the tab, so you can insert the cable to. So no button cell batteries, so that's always a plus. And it is a bright light, although I will say the cable is a little on the annoying side just because it's so blatantly obvious. But it's a really bright and nice feature, and it's something I might use with that USB feature. Only regret, since they did go with that, is that they didn't provide any other light up features for any of the elements on his chest, back, or arms. I think it's a shame that they just didn't take advantage of the light up feature here to the full extent that they could have. So I think it goes without saying that I think Hot Toys knocked this one out of the park. I don't know that I have any actual complaints here, and one of the biggest questions is, how am I going to choose to display him? He looks awesome in a museum pose, but in flight or levitation poses, he looks even better, right? It's a figure that just poses remarkably well. And then even when we discuss the mask, which by itself feels a little cheap, actually, I'm not going to lie, it looks great on the figure. And even with the eye ports so that you can see the figure's eyes beneath. So it looks great, but can I justify hiding this amazing sculpt behind that effect piece? I don't know that I can do that. So that's a good problem to have, right? Where you have two really awesome looking ways of displaying the sculpt, and you just have to pick one over the other, or maybe I just switch it over time. But that's great to have those two awesome looks. Hand swapping on this one is actually pretty straightforward, and look, he doesn't have double jointed elbows, so usually that would be a big complaint for me, but there's also an aesthetic goal here, and I can live with the single jointed since the overall figure just looks incredible. To me, this is another piece that you just put on display, and as I was doing the review, I couldn't help but going over and just looking at it again and looking at the detail work and how awesome he looks. So when a figure does that, I think it's a home run. And this year there have been four. This Electro, Carnage, Sam Wilson Cap, and the integrated suit Spidey with that awesome diorama base that have kind of attracted me. So needless to say, I'm extremely happy having gotten him in hand. Definitely one of the highlights of this year's pickups, and without a doubt, the Spider-Man No Way Home line is shaping up to be one of the best lines Hot Toys has done for Marvel. And combined with the awesome Venom that I looked at, the Mysterio, the upcoming Morbius, even any of the versions of the Vulture we got, the Spidey Rogues Gallery is getting fleshed out remarkably well in 6-scale form. So again, gorgeous figure and great addition to the collection. So that was a quick look at Electro from the Hot Toys Spider-Man No Way Home line. Really impressive piece, although as always, I am curious to hear your thoughts to see if you agree or disagree. And also, thank you for watching. And if you are enjoying the content, please consider dropping a like, a comment, or subscribing, and we'll touch base on the next video.